What are some signs that your ex is playing mind games with you? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. And stay through to the end because we're also going to be covering something that might initially seem like your ex is playing mind games with you, but isn't necessarily that at all. In fact, it can mean something else entirely different. But first, my name is Clay with ModernLove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you're not. If you like what we're doing here on this channel, please do me a favor by hitting that thumbs up button and by subscribing to this channel if you're new here. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. First of all, your ex might be playing mind games with you if you believe that they have the capacity to do this. So you've obviously been in a relationship with your ex. You know more or less what they're like, what their personality is like, what they might be capable of, whether they're a petty person, whether they hold a grudge, all of these sorts of things. You know them. You know them a whole lot better than I do, some rando on YouTube or some other person that you might be getting advice from. You know them probably better than just about anyone else out there, except for maybe their brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, all that stuff. So you should have a good sense about whether or not your ex is capable of this. If you think that they are, then that is an indication that they might be kind of, turning that towards you. If, on the other hand, you know your ex is an open-hearted person who is genuine, honest, forthright, and all of that, it would probably be pretty unlikely that they would suddenly start playing mind games with you. It's not to say it's impossible. Sometimes people have these suppressed sides of themselves that only come out during intense emotional experiences like breakups. But, you would probably have seen that from them at some point during your time together, okay? The second sign that your ex might be playing mind games with you is if you know that feeling powerful or in control is somehow important to them. Okay, so, we all have our own underlying motivations and factors in life. And for some people, in situations where there's been a falling out, a disagreement, where people part ways, some of us like to look back at the other person and say, oh, that person was terrible. They made some mistakes. They are, I'm obviously better than them or something like that. If that is kind of what your ex is like, then there is a chance that they might be playing mind games with you. This is a little bit complicated, but I'm going to see if I can explain this. So in order to justify breaking up with you, your ex has to create an image in their mind of you as someone that's worth breaking up with. Okay? So that means that sometimes they may have to distort, delete certain things, generalize certain things about you or the relationship that the two of you had in order to kind of twist reality in order to justify to themselves that yes, you are worth breaking up with. And oftentimes people will do this in a breakup sort of situation when they want to come out looking good. When looking like, yeah, I'm the better person. Yeah, they suck because they did all these things. I had no choice but to break up. It was totally reasonable in my situation. People can sometimes twist reality in order to make that happen. And so, oftentimes if somebody's willing to do that, they are kind of in a place where they value, looking good, being powerful, being in control, or at least seeming that way. And so they might kind of, twist reality in order to make things look that way when it comes to the breakup and what happened and all that between the two of you. Sign 3 that your ex might be playing mind games with you is if a lot of their feelings of self-worth are determined by external things outside of them. This is a little bit related to that last one. But if you notice that they are looking for things outside of themselves to determine if they're in a good place in life, if they're a good person, if they're making progress in life, if they are not doing these sorts of things, then that could also be a sign that they're playing mind games. Oftentimes when people go through breakups, there's this sort of unwritten agreement that some people have, which is that, like, okay, now it is game on. Now I have to race my ex. It's a competition to see which one of us moves on first, which one of us has it better, which one of us gets happily married first, which one of us is left, sad and depressed and all that, because that's how we measure who is successful or who is a failure after a breakup. I mean, it's totally not real. It's all just a construct of our imaginations, but some people play this game. And if your ex might be the kind of person that plays that game, they could potentially be playing mind games with you in order to try to make it seem like they've moved on quickly, that they don't care about you, that the breakup was a great idea, that it was all your fault, or all these sorts of things, right? So that's something to keep in mind if you think that your ex might be playing mind games with you. Oh, by the way, before we go on, I want to remind you that you can go ahead and check out this playlist up here. It will tell you some signs that your ex wants you back or doesn't want you back. It covers various topics. I put it together just for you, so you might want to check that out. Okay, sign 4 that your ex might be playing mind games with you is if it seems like they are intentionally doing things specifically to hurt you. Okay, if they're saying things specifically to hurt you, if they're saying things specifically to evoke some sort of emotional reaction out of you. Now, this is different. I must elaborate on this. This is different than your ex potentially saying things or doing things to manage expectations that they think you might have them or the relationship or the dynamic between you and them and all of that. Your ex might be hesitant to interact with you because they think that maybe you have a hidden agenda. So they say, hey, there's no chance that we'll get back together. Or they might think that, you only want to talk to them because you value getting back together with them over understanding where they are at emotionally. And so they might say things like, I just don't feel anything for you anymore, or, I'm dating somebody new or something like that, just to kind of put that distance, to kind of downgrade your expectations. That's totally different. That often has a very emotional component, and if you can actually address your ex's concerns and emotions, then they're much more likely to actually drop this kind of behavior and actually start to interact with you in a more, let's just say, civilized sort of way. But if you think that your ex isn't doing that because, maybe you've watched some of my other videos and you have a good grasp on this sort of thing, but if you think they're just doing this like intentionally to hurt you, just to like evoke some sort of reaction out of you, then they might be playing mind games with you. Okay, sign number 5 that your ex is playing mind games with you is if you have tried to come out of this breakup behaving, let's just say, emotionally inert, if that has been somehow something that you have strived for coming out of this breakup. There are other people on the internet that are giving you advice about your breakup. I am aware of this. I know many of them. I've met up with many of them personally. I've had lunch or drinks with them. I've talked to them. Some of them I like, some of them I recommend, some of them I am mysteriously silent on. Let's just say that. But I know that there are some people out there that are suggesting that you try to make it seem like this breakup did not affect you, like you've been unimpacted by it, like you couldn't care less, like this is somehow the ideal way that you're supposed to act after a breakup. And if this is how you're coming across to your ex, then your ex might intentionally be trying to play mind games with you to test you to see if this is actually how you feel. They're testing you to see, do you actually feel nothing about this breakup? Do you feel nothing about the loss of our relationship? Do you feel nothing about the fact that all of the time that we had together is just gone? Or are you actually hiding it behind this like fake act of being aloof, of being unimpacted by all the things that happened? If that's the case, then they might, be trying to do something in order to get a response out of you. They might be trying to do something to elicit a response out of you. I've seen it many, many, many times. And so if that's what you're doing, it wouldn't surprise me if your ex was maybe trying to do some sort of mind game with you to get you to respond. And now for our little teaser tip here. If your ex is doing something where they're giving you hot and cold behavior. A lot of times people will think that this is some sort of mind game. You know, one day they tell you, oh, I miss you so much. It was such a mistake to cut you out of my life or break up with you or something like that. And then, you know, the two of you have a nice interaction, you get close and all that. And then the day after that or a couple days later, they say, oh, you know, I shouldn't have said that. I think we should just be friends. We will never get back together. There's too many problems. And then the day after that, they start warming up to you again. It can be really confusing for a lot of people. And they can think that their ex is playing mind games with them. But in my experience, that's usually not the case. What's usually going on here is that your ex is just confused. They're genuinely confused. They don't know what they want. They don't know what to do. And they're not intentionally trying to jerk you around. They're just genuinely confused themselves. And I mean, you think it's stressful? Imagine them. They think it's stressful too. I mean, they don't want to think that they're jerking you around or playing mind games with you. So they're kind of stressed out by all this too. Plus, they're indecisive about what they want, what they're doing, what's coming out of their mouth, and all of this. They probably don't like it either. They're just genuinely confused. And what you can do is, if you focus on the positive connection and decrease any negative emotional barriers that could be keeping the two of you from fully connecting, you can actually get past this kind of emotional confusion stage. Actually, it's one of the stages we call riding the dragon, but that's a topic for another video. But anyway, I hope this has helped you figure out if your ex is playing mind games with you or not. These have been 5 signs, and 1 sign that your ex is not playing mind games with you, but 5 signs that your ex is potentially could be playing mind games with you. If you like what we're doing here, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel while you're here. Has your ex played mind games with you? Be sure to leave a comment down below letting me know what sorts of mind games your ex has been playing with you. Anyway, if you like what we're doing here, be sure to check out this series over here that I put together on signs that your ex wants you back or doesn't, or be sure to check out this video over here. Once again, my name is Clay with Modern Love Life, and if you like what we're doing, please make sure to subscribe. Talk to you next time. Take care.